Alright, hello everybody. This is going to be more of a chill video. This is something that I wanted to do for a while now, and, well, not really wanted to, but to be honest, I'd rather not write the script for Mistaken Truths right now, and I also am too bored to play Monster Hunter, so this is what I'm going to be doing right now. This is Animals Decoded, which essentially I go through famous online videos and tell you what's really going on, because a lot of these videos people often get the wrong impression or they just straight up lie. And this right here is an example. We start in the first episode with marine life, and there's a lot of lists like this, and top 5 lists, like, you'll hear this guy talk, and if you go on these types of videos you'll be quite familiar with this guy's voice. And it just, with the ocean, a lot of people have the assumption that just because we don't know everything that's down there, anything could be down there, you know? And technically there is some truth to that, but you're talking about statistics or whatever here, pal. Like, there's no sea dragon down there or whatever, despite what some people would believe. So I'm going to go through some of this guy's examples and see what he comes through. Like, I watched this video before, and this is what inspired me to make this video, but I don't remember exactly what he was talking about, so let's see.
Shark eaten by unknown sea creature.
Ah, this one.
In 2003, Australian filmmaker Dave Riggs and
I'll
his crew
let him explain this real quick before I give my throwback.
were asked to tag an adult great white shark along Australia's coast so they could monitor its behaviour. One of the first great whites they managed to tag was a magnificent 9-foot-long female. She was strong, healthy, and given the name Alpha. 4 months later, her tag was washed up on a beach and was handed in by somebody walking by. After reviewing the information from the tag, the researchers were left confused at what had happened. The data revealed that at 4 AM on the 24th of November 2003, the shark suddenly plunged at high speed 520 meters down the edge of a continental shelf. It also indicated a massive change in temperature from 46 degrees to 78 degrees in seconds. The only explanation the researchers could give was that Alpha had been devoured by another living creature and was deep inside its belly during the recordings. The tag seemed to carry on recording from within the predator's belly for a further 8 days, before finally being excreted and washed up on the beach. So what could possibly eat a 9-foot-long healthy great white shark?
Well, I'm just going to give the full explanation behind the story, because if I remember correctly, he didn't really give the full explanation, which could mean this is probably an older video. But essentially, the killer was just another great white shark. Back when this was a mystery, they looked at many different animals. They looked at the body temperatures of orcas, they looked at the body temperatures of other fish, they looked at larger whales, they looked at other great white sharks that were in the area, and nothing really matched the temperature that it was at. However, upon further research, they found that another population of great white sharks that wasn't too far away, they had a very similar temperature. So odds are what happened is that down there in the deep abyss where she was hanging out, another great white shark from the other neighborhood came on by and just nommed her up, just like that. We obviously don't know exactly what happened, but given the data we got, that is the most likely solution.
While there have been many theories ranging from an orca or a giant unknown sea creature. Astonishing.
I just like how he constantly throws in the term giant unknown sea creature. Like, I mean, yeah, that is obviously the case, because we don't know, we weren't there when the thing was eaten, you know?
It took 11 years before a plausible theory was released. Dave Rigg himself theorized the only explanation could be that another, even larger...
He was partially right. It was probably a bigger great white shark, but
cannibal great white shark was responsible. One that would have been almost twice Alpha's size and weighed over 2 tons.
My question is, where is that thing coming from? Like, what I find bizarre is how he just pulls those numbers from a temperature reading. Like, how do we not know that she was torn to pieces by a similar sized shark and just so happened to get the temperature? Like, I don't understand this.
Largest great whites ever recorded. The only other explanation that was brought up is that the tracker fell off Alpha and was eaten by another fish. So what do you think happened? Did the tracker simply fall
There's
off
also
and was
another
eaten by a
plausible
small
theory.
fish that thought it was bait? Or was Alpha pulled deep down in the ocean and eaten by an enormous undiscovered predator?
That's my thing. He just goes to these conclusions. It promotes this, I guess you can call it subculture, I don't know, of where people just believe that just because we haven't explored the deep abyss that things like this could be out there. And there could. But you're looking at the chances here.
Furry creature washes up on beach. In early 2015, a mysterious carcass of a creature was found washed up on an island called Sakhalin, which is located along the east coast of Russia. The carcass was ripped apart, covered in blood, had bones protruding from its body, and was unusual in the fact.
So this is one of these carcass cases looking at here, because there's a lot of cases of dead animals washing up on the shore and they're so decomposed that people mistake them for cryptid creatures. Like, you'll see in a second.
That it had a long beak and was around 11 feet in length. At first it was identified by experts to be some kind of rare big dolphin species, but people argue that due to its fur and large size...
That right there is not fur. That is actually what decomposing tissue looks like. As weird as it sounds, that's what decomposing tissue looks like.
Quite a few theories, there hasn't been any real explanation. It's unsure if...
Like, look at this. You'll see the body shape right here. This right here is the pectoral fin. This is the stomach. This is the dorsal fin. And this is the head. Like, you can see a very clear dolphin here. If you just follow the body shape, there's the beak, the melon, the back, the dorsal fin right here, and back down towards the tail. It's very clearly a cetacean of some form.
DNA samples were taken, and if they were, nothing has been released. How it ended up on the beach in the first place is also a mystery, since the water around that area is colder than most fish this size would usually live in. This led researchers to think whatever it was may have been brought in by a warm current and died when the waters cooled. Not long after its discovery, another study was done by a group of scientists who came to the conclusion that the carcass could have been a whale cub, possibly that of a beaked whale.
Who calls a whale a cub, by the way? Like, this is just me nitpicking. Because these types of videos put me in a bitter mood. But who calls a whale a cub, though? They're called calves, aren't they?
Since most whales and dolphins are born with hair that they lose quickly, this would explain the fur, but this would have meant that if it was a beaked whale or dolphin cub, it would have been a very large one. Another theory is that it's just a rare large dolphin and the hair is degraded tissue fibers.
Yep, that's what I was talking about.
Interestingly, some think that it's an undiscovered sea creature.
Like that, he just randomly brings that up. Like, you got all of these actually kind of logical explanations, but then just throws in sea serpent, giant undiscovered sea creature, and somehow thinks that it is actually a plausible idea. It's not. It's just plain not.
Which, with its size and the unexplored areas within the ocean, this, like all the theories mentioned, cannot be ruled out.
Oh, perfect example. Listen to this again.
Unexplored areas within the ocean, this, like all the theories mentioned, cannot be ruled out.
It's just this ideology. It is just this ideology that because we haven't discovered everything in the ocean, that somehow gives ground to the opinion that a giant sea monster could be dwelling deep into the ocean. It's not. It's the exact same thing like with when discovered dinosaurs. Like, if you throw in some wild speculation that has absolutely no evidence behind it, which is exactly this, you have to have some ground to it. If you don't, it's not really that valid. And we haven't discovered everything is not really an excuse. It's really not. It really goes against science in general.
This next mystery is actually another washed-up creature. Now, I was going to include this thing, which is called the Montauk
Montauk monster.
That was found.
This thing was a decomposing raccoon, by the way.
But after reading a lot about it, although it hasn't been fully identified, it doesn't seem like it came from the ocean. Whereas this next one I'm going to talk about most certainly isn't land-based. There isn't a whole lot of information on this, but it was found by a group of people in 2013 on New Zealand's Bay of Plenty beach. This area is known for having sea creature carcasses washed up, but this one caused a little more mystery, as it was unlike anything previously seen. Its body was 30 feet long and was mostly buried under the sand, but its head and a large dorsal fin could be seen, which led a marine biologist to think that it was most likely an orca.
Yep, he's right. It's an orca. You'll clearly see in a second that it's an orca.
because of this distinctive fin, but this couldn't be 100% confirmed because of its badly decomposed body. Some
You see the teeth here? That's that's orca teeth.
say
You'll
that
see in a
since the
second.
jawline, even after decomposition, is so narrow though, that is definitely not an orca.
Are you sure? That looks the same to me. Like, if we ignore the melon portion, because I'm pretty sure that most cetaceans don't actually have, like, any bony bits in their melon, and we just look at the jawline here, it fits pretty well. If you just look at the jawline instead of the entire thing, then yeah, it makes sense.
But it could be an unknown species of whale or an undiscovered creature. The teeth do look similar.
See? Pretty much an orca right here, especially in the back. Especially in the back. Like, compare the ones up here to the ones over here. Yeah.
Similar to
100%.
that of a killer whale, so who knows? What do you think? Was it an orca, some type of whale, or a
Brings in the mosasaur.
prehistoric creature that we have yet to discover? Mysterious giant shark.
This one right here actually fooled me back when this first came out years ago.
In early 2000, scientists from Japan conducted a study to learn more about marine life in the Mariana Trench. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with the Mariana Trench, it's thought to be the deepest part of any of the world's oceans, and is located in the Western Pacific. Now, its precise depth is hazy, but it's thought the trench is about 6.8 miles deep. At these depths, it's hard to believe anything could survive, but surprisingly there are many fish and living organisms down there, which I will talk more about in a documentary about the Marianas Trench. Anyway, the Japanese scientists were studying an area not far from the trench called the Suruga Bay. They had submerged a container with special bait at a depth of around 1 mile, in hopes of capturing on camera whatever wanted to feed on it. This is a common way of videoing and identifying new and existing sea creatures. At first, the camera picked up a few small known sea creatures, followed by a shoal of rare deep sea sharks that measured 6 foot long.
Yeah, these things probably aren't 6 foot. You'll see in a second what I'm talking about.
If this wasn't exciting enough for the researchers, the sharks scattered quickly and a huge creature came into view. Its size cannot be justified on the video footage, but the researchers said it would have been between 30 to 50 feet in length. Just know the Guinness World Record for the largest shark is 37 feet, so if the proportions the researchers have given are correct, this could be the largest shark ever recorded. Take a look.
Yeah, I'm just going to talk over this. I'd like to see where the scientists said that it was a 30 to 50 foot long shark. Like, honestly, I have a hard time believing scientists would actually, especially the ones that know how big the cage is, they would know that it wasn't a 30 to 50 foot long shark. They wouldn't. But yeah, I'll show you guys the shark in a second and I'll tell you what it is. This right here is called a Pacific sleeper shark. They are a deep sea shark that's related to the six-gill sharks and the Greenland shark of the Arctic. They get pretty big, 20 feet, 6 meters, but not 30 to 50 feet, which if you use a metric system is like 9 to 15. So, oh, yep, that's the money shot right there. The original video of this that everybody talks about was one that claimed that this was a megalodon that lived in the Mariana Trench. Which, first off, this wasn't even the Mariana Trench, it was in Suruga Bay, as said before. And it's also not a megalodon, obviously. But I do give props that they didn't just show a giant great white shark and claim it was a megalodon. I will talk about that in the Mistaken Truths video as to why I think megalodon being an upsized great white shark is kind of dumb. Still a huge fish, though.
What type of scientists aren't exactly sure what type of shark it is.
It's blatantly obvious what shark it is, dude. He's about to pull up a picture.
And people have said it could be the long thought to be extinct megalodon, the gigantic monster of the sea that lived over
There's so many things wrong with believing that megalodon exists in the current age. There really is.
2 million years ago and is labelled the largest, most powerful predator in history. But another theory is that the footage caught a very large, very rare Pacific sleeper shark. Sleeper sharks can grow.
Yep, see? It's pretty much an identical match right here. It's got the same white eye, the pale brown skin, the scars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, these guys have 5 gills. They don't they're not like the six-gill shark, sorry.
Total lengths of 23 feet.
But yeah,
so even
identical match.
if it was a sleeper, it would have been the biggest and long.
It wouldn't have been massive because there's a thing called forced perspective, which if we look back here, this cage might be only the size of like a chair. It wouldn't even be like, it could be like the size of a chair. It could be like the size of a regular cardboard box that you get in the mail. We don't necessarily know how big this box is, but it's probably forced perspective. We don't know there's nothing actual of relative size we can measure for scale. The only people that know how big this box is are the scientists, and I don't know where I'd figure out the information to figure out how big this box is, but it makes this shark appear much bigger than it really is. Don't get me wrong, it's a big fish, but it's not boat size big, it's not whale size big.
Megalodon, just most sleeper sharks kind to have ever been spotted.
This is a Greenland shark, by the way, not a Pacific sleeper. So
that's 5 mysterious sea creatures. Don't forget, this is only a fraction of the creatures that must be out there. There is.
These are all just everyday creatures that people see in out-of-term circumstances and consider them legendary. Like, that's the best way I could describe sea monsters in general. They are just everyday animals that live out in the ocean. But the second you put them in some sort of out-of-term circumstance, like when they're partially decomposed, or where you put them in an environment where they appear much larger than they really are, then it just results in them getting exaggerated into sea monsters and turning up all these weird conspiracy theories. So, yeah guys, I hope you all enjoyed. If you guys want me to interpret another animal video, let me know. I think what my next video would probably be, if I decide to do this again, would be bird behavior. Birds are some of my birds are easily my favorite terrestrial land animals. Period. So that would be pretty cool. I know a couple of videos, but if you have anything down in the comments, like any YouTube video that you'd like to see my take on, let me know. Alright. See ya, people. Bye. Abrupt ass ending.